Hey everybody, it's Tradiest Trades here, back with another red pill video. I'm going to share with you a setup market this week using the commitment of traders and other fundamental indicators that I use. And I'd like to firstly just disclaim that this isn't trading advice. I'm not telling you to go and buy or sell anything. This is just educational. I want you to learn from how I view the markets, and hopefully you can integrate some of my ideas into your trading and make your trading better. Second of all, I'd like to give credit to the legend Larry Williams. The concepts that I use to profit in the markets, I largely learned from Larry Williams, so I give credit where credit is due. So without any further ado, let's dive into these markets, and let's first look at copper. So copper is the market this week that is set up for shorts. So starting with the commitment of traders commercial index, this is the red line here. Now we see that it isn't quite in the sell zone. So you'll notice most of my videos, I wait for it to get into the sell zone for this to be considered a setup. And why I'm considering it this week is I took a look back into previous positioning with the index, and I noticed last time that the index got this short coincided with a major high in copper. And then also, just generally speaking, going back in time, you can see generally when it's got around this level, there have been some pretty major sell-offs. So I'm okay with considering this as a setup indicator, especially considering all the other things we're going to look at here. So then we also have the Williams Sentiment Index. So this is telling me that the advisors who advise their clients on what to buy and sell are incredibly bullish on copper. They're telling everybody to buy. When these guys are extremely bullish, and especially when they're doing the opposite of what the commercials are doing, we've seen the commercials rapidly getting out while all the investment advisors are advising people to buy. That's a great sign. That's a great setup. So that's two tools pointing in the right direction. Then right here, we see our valuation tool shows that copper is very overvalued. The main thing I'm paying attention to is overvalued versus gold, but we also see the treasuries in the US dollar measurements are showing that copper is overvalued relative to all of those assets. Another thing that we're seeing is we're starting to see the bubble up occur. So the bubble up you'll see here in the past when we create this little bubble where the commercials positioning went down and then the large spec positioning in blue went up and created this bubble. That's a phenomenon that happens at a lot of market turning points. You can see it happen back here. You can see it happen back here. You can see it happening again. So the bubble up is starting to form. So I like the way that looks. Heading over here on the net positioning, don't see a whole lot. We can zoom in and maybe dissect the open interest a little bit, see if it can give us a little bit of a clue as to who has been driving this move. So we see here that since the early March, open interest has been increasing. So when open interest increases, we need to ask the question, who is causing the open interest increase? We see here that the commercials, the red line, have been getting out of the market. And we see that the large specs have been driving the open interest increase. So they're the weak hands. Those are the ones, these are the guys that are going to flip on a dime and go short as soon as the trend changes. So the weak hands are driving the open interest. So that's a nice bearish quality to this market. And as you can see, these codes are stacking up. I'm looking for a multitude of things telling me the same thing. So let's keep going here. What else do we have? Let's take a look at the seasonal. What we see here is that we're not quite there yet, but by mid-April, April 18th, we're getting to a major seasonal high in copper. So this is getting close enough to the time when this is supposed to happen that I want it to be on my radar. It'd be perfect if we were right there, but we're not quite there yet. So we could see some consolidation or some bullishness up until mid-April in copper. If we want to take a little bit more of a deep dive into this seasonal, I've loaded it now on the daily chart. So all the setup tools I just showed you were on the weekly chart. This is on the daily chart now. Gives us a bit more of a granular view. And we see that the seasonal high is April 24th based on the daily data. So between now and then, what I'd really like to see is, as we can see, the seasonal typically has copper make a higher high in April than the high in late March. What I'd love to see is that if copper did something like this and actually made a lower high in mid-March and mid-April, that'd be really nice confirmation to go ahead and hunt shorts on copper. But I do think we're getting close to this trade actually coming together. And looking for confirmation, we actually already have some confirmation coming into the market on the ProGo indicator, which is right here. We see that price made a higher high while the ProGo indicator made a lower high. So that's showing us that there is some distribution going on in the market at a time when we've got underlying conditions that are bearish. That's what we like to see to give us the green light to go ahead and take technical entry triggers in this market. So that's what I'm looking at this week. We've got a lot of things going for this trade. We have positioning, we have open interest being driven by the weekends, we have valuation, and we have sentiment extremes. And then pretty soon we're going to have seasonals on our side as well. Now, we also have spread divergence, which I should also make a note of showing you here. If I could just change the chart. So to get spread divergence, I just take the front month minus the next month out, and it shows me the relationship between the front month and the next month out. Now, since we're looking for shorts, we want to see the spread weakening, which is what we see here. So we see that price has been making higher highs, while the spread, which is the front month minus the next month out, is actually weakening. So what that tells us is that the commercials don't really have a whole lot of demand for this market. Now, something else very interesting that I'm going to show you, I'm going to bring my timing solution software into the screen here. And there are some cycles that are lining up for this market on the short side. So just bear with me. I'll open a few of them up. Now, what's really interesting is we have the 266-day cycle. It showed up on the daily data, and it's also showed up on the weekly data as about a 270-day cycle. So what we can see is that the cycle peaked back in February. So when things are really bullish, these things can translate to the right a little bit. But what I'm finding is that if I take you to the other screen, you're going to see the cyclic RSI is actually giving some sell triggers here. So we have confirmation from a few things. Seasonals and now cycles are lining up in the same direction. So this cycle here is a 266-day. Right here is the 153-day. Then we got the 33-day, and then we have the 76-day. They're all kind of lining up. And this is quite nice when you see all these cycles actually really lining up, telling you the same thing. It doesn't happen like this very often. So there's actually some pretty potent cycles. If I was to show you the spectrum here, some very potent cycles here that point towards some bearishness in copper. And if I go over here, I'm going to show you the cyclic RSI. And what I'm going to do is just show you how it's confirming this setup. So this is the weekly chart. So the weekly cyclical high was supposed to be kind of back in there February 18th to go down until the summertime. So in order to tune the cyclic RSI, we type into the cyclic RSI half of the weekly cycle. So it's around a 40-week cycle. So I'll just tune this to be 20. So I'll just do that. So what we see is the cyclic RSI is outside of the upper band. So this is setting up for a short. This cyclic RSI would technically trigger once it closes back within the band. But so that's interesting to see. We are in this zone here now. If we go back to the daily and we use the daily cycle, which is 266 days divided by 2, gets us 133 to tune the cyclical RSI. And what's interesting about that is you'll see we actually got a sell trigger here on Thursday. So we were up. So you can see the cycle's a little bit, it's translating to the right, which makes sense because copper has been so bullish. But up we go here. And then it went above the upper band and then closed within. So that's a cyclical RSI technical trigger. And then this cycle is to go down until June. So we've got a lot of things going for this trade. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think about what might be coming for copper. For me personally, this is a nicely set up market. And just to be clear, just because it's set up doesn't mean we take entries. What we need to do is we need to watch for confirmation, which we do have some confirmation with distribution at the highs. Further confirmation is the cycles, and even better confirmation will come in around mid-April when we get that major seasonal high. So let me know what you guys think in the comments about what's coming for copper, what you think of this video. I'd be curious to hear what you're thinking about this market. If you like this method of analysis and you want to learn more about it, you can shoot me a message at tradiustrades@gmail.com. And if you'd like to join my free Discord, I can also send you a link once you send me an email. And hope you guys enjoyed this video, and have yourself a really great weekend. Thanks.